Why don't I flinch? Because the laws of science differ fundamentally from all other. My face.
In this video, we're going to discuss units and measurement. Let's talk about what a physical quantity is, because we're going to be measuring a lot of these in physical science. We're going to be discussing a lot of these generally in physics as well and chemistry. Well, a physical quantity is a quantity that can be measured with some kind of device and as a unit. Okay, so it's something basically that is measurable. A good example is mass. What would you use to measure mass? Well, you could use a scale. Okay, and on that scale, what kind of unit would you have? Well, you could have kilograms, pounds, or ounces. So mass is an example of a quantity that is measurable and has a unit. Mass is a physical quantity. Another example is distance. What would you use to measure distance? You could use a tape measure. And then a suitable unit could be, for example, meters, inches, kilometers. Distance is an example of a quantity that is measurable. Distance is a physical quantity. What of a quantity like happiness? You could say you have a lot of it, but how would we measure it? With what? What kind of device would we use? Well, maybe we could use a happy meter. I'm not sure a happy meter exists. So there is no such thing as a happy meter. So since there is no device to measure happiness with, and there is no unit for it, happiness is not a physical quantity. Okay, so basically guys, physical quantities are quantities that we can measure with some kind of device and we have a unit for it. Okay, now when it comes to units, there are many kinds of units that are used across the world. One of the system of units used is the Imperial System, designed by the British. Remember, at some point in the history of the world, the British Empire ruled most parts of the world. As a result, their units were used across the world. Okay. Now, under the Imperial System, the units they use, for example, are pounds, you've got yards, and you've got feet, and you've got miles. Okay. So these are examples of some of the units that you find being used in the Imperial System. So, for example, if you're to land in the United States of America, you discover that they'll measure the mass of your luggage using pounds. The United States is an example of a country that uses the Imperial System. Okay. After a while, across the world, people began to use another system again, known as the metric system. This started to replace the Imperial System in many parts of the world. But there are still other parts of the world that use the Imperial System. Now, under the metric system, we've got units such as grams, centimeter, liters, and kilometers. So you can see now that there's different kinds of units that can be used across the world. So what happens when we're in science? Well, to deal with that problem, there is an organization that was set up known as the International System of Units that came up with standardized units that can be used when it comes to science. Okay, so under the International System of Units, we've got 7 basic quantities with 7 basic units. Okay. If you are new to physical science, you'll find that they seem like they're a lot, but with time, only 7. You find yourself being able to remember all of these. Okay, so the first quantity we can talk about is the mass. Okay, the symbol for mass is M. The unit is the kilogram, and the symbol for the unit is kg. So I can talk of an object with a mass of 5 kgs. Okay. Then you can talk of distance. Well, depending on what you're measuring, it could be L, H, or R. L could be the length, H could be the height, R could be the radius. And the unit is the meter. Symbol for unit is M. So don't confuse the symbol for the quantity, mass, and for the distance. For the symbol for the unit for distance. Then you've got time. The symbol for quantity is T. And the unit is the second. The symbol for unit is S. So when we say symbol for unit, instead of writing, for example, 5 seconds, I might as well just write 5 with a little s. That means 5 seconds. So if you see 5s, it means 5 seconds. Instead of saying 10 kilograms, I can just say 10 kgs. That's what it means. Then we've got electric current is one of those base units, base quantities. The symbol for the quantity is I, and the unit is the ampere, and the symbol for the unit is A. Okay? Then you've got temperature. Now temperature is interesting because we're used to measure temperature in degrees Fahrenheit or degrees Celsius. But temperature is actually measured in Kelvin according to the SI unit. The symbol there is big T, and the symbol for the unit is a big K. Then we've got another quantity called the amount of matter. This one you'll come across it in chemistry a lot when you talk about the amount of matter. The amount of matter is measured in moles, and the symbol for the unit is also the moles. The symbol for the quantity is a little n. Then you've got light intensity. LV is the symbol for the quantity. The unit is the candela, and the symbol for the unit is CD. So that's it, guys. That's the basic introduction to the units and measurement in physical sciences. Remember, there are 7 base units, 7 base quantities with their 7 base units. A physical quantity is anything that is measurable. Because we have a device for it, we have a unit. In the next video, we're going to start talking about vectors and scalars. Okay, so after understanding the units and measurement, we dive straight into vectors and scalars. Thanks for watching, guys. See you around next time.